Imagine being trapped in a house for years with little possibility of ever being able to live an everyday life again. We are reporting on an extraordinary case. You will be utterly stunned by it. This is the eerie and strange tale of a family that has vanished for 9 years. Let's examine how they vanished now. How did they survive? Where did they spend their long lives? Who kept them hidden, and why? Uncover the shocking truth behind their mysterious vanishing in this compelling investigation. Jan Zon van Dorsten, who was just 25 years old, a very young man, and his youngest siblings were physically tortured and kept isolated from the world in a farmhouse in Roonewold, 60 miles north of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. They are members of a Dutch family, unaware of anything happening outside the world. They remain there for 9 years. Jan, the eldest, courageously breaks free from the farmhouse where they are confined. Gerrit, the father of the children, who was 67 years old, and Joseph B., a man who rented a farmhouse, did this to the family members. According to reports, Gerrit was also accused of money laundering, wrongful detention, and other offences. On the other hand, Joseph B. was accused of kidnapping and money laundering. Joseph assisted Gerrit, the primary offender, in committing the crime. The house was located more than 200 yards from the closest building and 100 yards from the nearest road, making it difficult for onlookers to see what was going on. There was a modest room on the ground floor of the farmhouse. There were several individuals, the whole family, in the tiny space. Many of the children reported that Gerrit had subjected them to physical punishment in various forms. They recounted being struck with sticks and forced to sit in ice baths until they lost consciousness. In October 2020, the De Kastelein Dutch bistro in the quiet farming village of Roonewold saw an unusual customer. This was rare for the bistro, especially since visitors to the area were uncommon and usually behaved predictably. However, this young man was different. The cafe staff noticed that the young man struggled to make eye contact and appeared quite thin. He seemed unsure and hesitant, making everyone wonder if he understood them. Finally, he ordered 5 pints of beer and drank them all in one sitting, puzzling everyone around him. The young man left after his drinks, and the staff thought they wouldn't see him again. Surprisingly, he returned the next evening, behaving just as strangely. This time, he seemed eager to say something but hesitated. Curious and concerned staff kept talking to him, sensing something was off. Eventually, the young man revealed his secret. He told Chris Westerbeek, the owner of De Kastelein, that he had been inside for 9 years. He lived on a property with his sister and 4 brothers, and as the eldest, he wanted to change their lives. Chris and the cafe staff were unsure how to handle this information. Some thought the young man might be mentally ill or on drugs, while others saw the fear in his eyes and believed him. Chris decided to be cautious and called the local police to investigate. The bar owner, Chris Westerbeek, recounted an incident where a man entered the bar, ordered 5 beers, and consumed them. Afterward, we had a conversation, and he disclosed that he had fled and required assistance. So we contacted the police, Chris said. He further described, he had long hair, an unkempt beard, was dressed in worn-out clothes, and seemed disoriented. He mentioned he had never attended school and hadn't visited a barber in 9 years. He said he had brothers and sisters who lived at the farm. He said he was the oldest and wanted to end the way they were living. When the police questioned the young man further, he mentioned being confined for 9 years due to a cult or religious reason, but provided no more details. Concerned, the police visited the Buitenhuizenweg residence the next day. The house, hidden from view, appeared unoccupied at first glance. However, inside a small room on the ground floor, the police discovered the entire family living in isolation. This hidden life had gone unnoticed by the local community, who drove by the farmhouse daily, unaware of the tragic situation unfolding inside. The case shocked the quiet rural community of Roonewold and sparked debates about the dangers of isolated communities and extremist beliefs. It raised questions about how such extreme forms of abuse and captivity could persist undetected for so long, highlighting gaps in social services and community awareness. When questioned by the authorities, all family members claimed to be adults, though none could clearly explain why they were all in a single room. Along with Jan, the 25-year-old who had escaped into town after 9 years, police found 6 more people living in isolation on the farm. Police soon discovered that the 6 individuals hidden in the farmhouse were not adults, but children aged between 12 and 15, despite their initial claims. It seemed they had been trained to lie about their ages if discovered. Police took the 6 children into their care and ensured they saw a doctor immediately, even though some were reluctant to leave the property. Initially, the police were unsure if the family had been living at the farmhouse voluntarily or how they ended up there. According to the police report, all 6 children had been born in secret and kept hidden from society, as they were never officially registered. The individuals discovered living there included a 58-year-old man arrested when police arrived due to his lack of cooperation with the investigation. Several young adults ranging from 16 to 25 years old were also found. It's uncertain at this time whether the man is the biological father of these young adults. Inside the house, police located a concealed staircase leading to the family's cellar, hidden behind a cupboard in the living room. They also discovered multiple rooms furnished with makeshift items. The young adults, who reportedly hadn't left the farmhouse in 9 years, appeared to have sustained themselves by farming their crops and raising livestock, such as goats, geese, and homegrown vegetables. We found 6 people living in a small space in the house which could be locked but wasn't a basement, police said. According to neighbors, they had observed a man peering through the window with binoculars for years. They mentioned that he promptly chased them away whenever anyone approached the property. Allegedly, he moved into the property 9 years ago. At trial, many of the kids said that Garrett had physically punished them in different ways. They talked of being struck with rods and made to stay in cold baths until they passed out. Gerrit Jan van D and Joseph B were arrested and charged with unlawful detention, kidnapping, and other crimes related to their isolated lifestyle and mistreatment of the children. "I've never seen anything like it," local mayor Roger de Groot told reporters. They also find Gerrit's mysterious diary, which is very good evidence against him. Neighbors have been appalled by the news. "I am shaking on my legs." The children, ranging in age from 12 to 15 at the time of their discovery, were reportedly taught to lie about their ages if discovered and were completely cut off from the outside world. They claim to have been living in fear under the strict rules imposed by Gerrit Jan van D, who purportedly held strong beliefs in a doomsday cult ideology. The children were allegedly subjected to physical punishments and psychological manipulation. The local postman told the news outlet he had never posted a letter there. "It's actually pretty strange, now I come to think about it." According to the authorities, quote, "Both Gerrit and Joseph knew very well what they were doing was punishable by law, and Gerrit van D was the evil genius, but Joseph B was his partner in crime." In addition, Gerrit was allegedly accused of money laundering, wrongful imprisonment, and other offenses. Joseph B was charged and is thought to have committed money laundering and kidnapping. The police were still holding Joseph and Gerrit as detectives worked to piece together exactly what happened at the farm over the previous 9 years. Impact on Jan and his siblings. They were promptly taken to the hospital for physical examinations and mental health treatment. Jan and the children are now gradually adjusting to life outside, one step at a time. Then he starts posting his pictures on Instagram. But it was very terrible, and a great trauma for him and his family. Maybe, or maybe not, they could ever live a happy and normal life. The case of Gerrit Jan van D and Joseph B in Runevold is a tragic example of prolonged captivity and alleged cult-like practices, highlighting the profound impact on the victims and the community at large. Thanks for watching such a mysterious case, which you can never even think about. We can't even imagine that these kinds of things are happening under our noses.